Well, howdy, howdy, howdy. Finally, senior citizen here. Greetings, boys, girls, and all of our non-binary friends. Welcome to this brand new day. And remember, no matter who you are valid. Thumbs up for that. And it is indeed a brand new day. I do not know what the weather is like in your area, but it's nice here. You know, it's not exactly brilliant and sunny, and it's not exactly frozen. It's just a pleasant day outside. Yay! A very, very good thing. There are a couple quick things that I have not written down and some that I have, but number one, I do home surgery. I had a little bit of a skin tag right there that was starting to form, and it was catching on my clothing and hurting, itching and scratching. So I cut it off with scissors. And if you notice there, as I was pointing it out there, it's a little bit red. I didn't clean my scissors before I snipped my meat off of my body there. Oops. So it's going to be a little while before it finishes healing, but it doesn't catch on my shirts anymore. So even though it's a little bit on the infected side and that it's red, you know, my body's fighting off something, but it's going to just heal right up. Yay, but I just wanted to point that out. Also, I also want to point out I have a couple go-to type casual games, and one of them that I picked up in a bundle is called Grow, Song of the Evertree. And it's got a storyline that depends on how well you're doing for the storyline to progress. But it's a gigantic world tree, and on these world tree branches there's spots where you can plant seeds to grow new worlds, and then you can go and you tend to these worlds, and then you come back and you take care of this growing town that you are bringing back, and you are building new buildings and assigning people that are showing up because you were the only person that was left. Everyone else had gone because these withering vines were taking over this whole area. But with you doing all this stuff, the vines are being pushed back. The town has come back. People have come back. But when you go to these worlds, it's busy work in that you run around and there's withering stuff, and that you grab it and you pull it up, and they're just plants, but they're purple things with teeth and stuff like that. So you pull them up out of the ground, and then there's just like stone formations that need to be broken up with a hammer. There's this nasty evil weed stuff you got to take your scythe and cut down, and when you do all this stuff, there's these areas where you need to plant a seed, and then you water it. And then one of the abilities that you picked up is some of these things require some of the vanished song to come back. And you actually have a connection with this song, a connection that no one has seen for quite some time. And because of that, you can bring these flowers and plants to true fruition. And then it takes a good couple days of coming in, rushing around, and doing all the busy work before they're lush and green, because they are just sterile and dead when you first start. But as you do your work, good stuff happens, and insects and animals show up, and the animals are all the type that you have a choice when you interact with them to do things like, do a neck scratch or do a cuddle. And if you choose the wrong one, they kind of go grrr, but then you immediately choose the other one, and then they're happy. And then when the place is all done, because as you fix up an area, it'll expand a little bit more, where more TLC needs to be done for this to be brought up, and then it expands and grows to its full size, which might be about 5 times larger than its beginning. But then when that's done, it's trees and greenery, and you have the choice to either hang on to it or cut it free, where it can go on to become its own world in some other part of the universe. And so you can let it go. But you gotta kind of do that because you only have a couple places that you can actually plant your worlds in, and if all of them are filled up, I have 4 open right now, well, 3 of them, then if they're all filled up, because you can maintain them, you don't have any place to build new ones. And one of the things that happens is you're gathering resources on all of these places. Each bad plant you pull up becomes a resource. Each good plant you pull up becomes a resource. Each rock, each tree, everything. And there's 2 characters that your character interacts with. There's a book, and there's this thing called Copper Top, which kind of looks like a pot, and at the same time kind of a translucent jelly, like a slime. And the book takes care of all of your achievements and things that you have to keep track of, and Copper Top takes care of your alchemy, where you take the things that you have gotten from your various worlds, and Copper Top breaks them down into individual essences. And these essences you use to make up new seeds to make up a new world, and then go in and do the whole thing over. But by doing this, with the resources you get, you're able to work on bringing your town up and making it better, and it's fun. So I've been doing a lot of that. It's one of those mostly a cozy type game, in that there's a deadline, in that, if you don't win, then you've lost, but you take as much time as you need. There's no, oh, if you don't do it by this day, you've lost. No. Nah, the book and Copper Top are both really happy with you, telling you you've done a great job, no matter what pace you're working at. It's just a cozy, takes time type game. Which are also one of the reasons I play like that grocery store simulator and supermarket simulator, both of which are stressful in their own ways, because of course there are time and resource management games. Supermarket Simulator, so much more of a time management game, because it runs from 8 in the morning until 9 that night. And so you've got to make sure everything gets done. And what makes that more complicated is you got your customers coming in all the time. But one of the weird things to make sure that you're busy is the place gets dirty, in that you've got mud spots that you gotta take your mop and you gotta keep your floor clean, and then there's trash that will accumulate. But this is weird trash it's janky funny. There's nothing janky about the way it acts, it's just the way it looks, because it takes products that are on your shelves and makes them rancid, and that they're crumpled up and they've got green, this stuff stinks smells coming off of it. But it'll be like a crumpled up box of, the powdered sugar. Powdered sugar doesn't go rancid. It might attract insects, but it's not going to go rancid and have stink smells coming off of it. A bottle of olive oil isn't going to get crumpled and have stink smells coming off of it. But they do. And at the same time, it's goofy enough, I don't mind. I am glad that they add extra things in there, and as a time management thing, yeah, it adds pressure that I can't do a thing about, because I've got customers coming up. I have to wait until there's a moment, rush out there, do as much as I can before I get over to the cash register again, because people are piling up, and if you're not there to take care of them, they're not happy. But you need to increase your store level, which increases your responsibility level, before you can get an employee. Oh boy. And of course, Grocery Store Simulator has no time limits. Again, this is a game where you can just turn off your store whenever you want. If you can keep it closed for 10 minutes and then turn it back on, run it for 12 hours, turn it off for 3 days, and then turn it on for 5 hours, and then turn it off for another 3 days. And in no case do you have any penalty for it in game. None. So that's cool. Whereas Supermarket Simulator, because of the time and management thing, it tells you at the end of each day, what you spent, what you made, and the breakdown of what you spent your stuff on, payments, bills, rent, product, and then any penalties you might have had, and how many people were unhappy because stuff was too expensive or stuff wasn't in stock. So they left. You really get a breakdown. It is a time and management pressure game. Not quite so cozy, but fun. I enjoy both of them. Which is, again, weird. I have spent, 11 minutes in. If you've been watching this far, hey, call to action. If you could like, comment, share, subscribe, that would be very, very cool. Thumbs up and thank you. But even though I'm 62 and I'm technically of the boomer age, I was raised Gen X, but even though I'm older, tech has always been a part of my life. I remember when my sister and I were young, we got a Pong machine when that was all that you could do was play Pong. The ball going back and forth. And then we got an Atari VCS. And then I was going to all the arcades with all the arcade machines. You put in the quarter, you play your video game. And then I got my Commodore 64 in 1984, when I was 22 years old. And then I've been playing with computers ever since. So I can't remember what the point of what I was talking about, but there we go. If this was hunter-gatherer times, I'm quite sure my ADHD would be a lifesaver, because I'd be able to hyperfixate on the things that would keep myself, my fellow hunters around me, and my tribe alive. I don't have those society pressures and evolutionary pressures anymore where I need to use my ADHD to keep myself, my fellow hunters, and my tribe alive. Now, there's nothing for me to hyper-focus on, and like a lot of other people, that superpower gets wasted on doing things like forgetting what I'm talking about as I talk about it. It's life. I've done it my whole life. I remember talking about tech, can't remember why. But the things that I've written down, as much as I suffer depression, and that, as stated, may have had some kind of evolutionary reason to exist back in our past, that for reasons now we don't have. But because of that, it's hard sometimes to really do things like have a good belly laugh. But I was having one today. This back here, as weird as it looks, it might be like you go, oh, it's an MLM thing, multi-level marketing? Yeah. But no, this is a PM Seymour Tumblr reading thing. And I was laughing until I was crying, because there was this one person who just dug their own grave deeper and deeper. Well, yeah, their own, yeah, that works as a simile, I guess. But just started off saying, talking about, oh, I know these Greek gods, but mentioning like Homer, the person who wrote, or was supposed to have written, they don't even think or know that if they were a real person. But, well, yeah, and so it started there, and then getting the rest of the gods wrong, and getting the Greek and Roman gods mixed together, and just everybody's head was exploding and going, what? I thought Zeus was the father of Thor. And it's like, what? And of course he thought Kratos was god of war and not Ares. So it was just, I was dying of laughter. So it was a good thing. It is good to laugh, and I can laugh. I try to laugh. That's why I watch these things. Yay! Speaking of which as well, the latest Chaotic Good Barbarian came out, there was less horror in it. The horror was off camera as it was occurring, but it was with recurring characters. This one person who turns out is a paladin and can do all sorts of magical stuff, and had taken an oath not to kill, especially, well, don't want to ruin another episode, and so could not kill. But the Chaotic Good Barbarian taught them wisdom, and that the best sort of punishment doesn't involve killing them. And it's like, yeah, actually, I learned that sort of thing as part of a D&D campaign thing as well. You don't kill your enemies. Then they're just dead. No. You maim your enemy, so that every day when they limp to the mirror and they look at what you've done to them, they will never forget, and it will hurt every single day. You don't kill your enemies. You maim them. You let them live with that. So yeah, the Chaotic Good Barbarian taught the Paladin that lesson. And oh my God, as the horror was occurring off screen, the Chaotic Good Barbarian was just watching. And the captions down below were things like, "Is this still going? Oh my God, yes," and stuff like that. And then one of them, the Chaotic Good Barbarian, just slowly started to smile, and it just said, the face of terror, begins to feel a sense of pride. And I laughed out loud like an idiot at that. And then call back to the very, very first episode of the Chaotic Good Barbarian, where he took care of a lich by hacking off its arms and legs, cutting out the fellow's tongue, and then shoving a pole up through his insides and out his mouth, and wears them as a wriggling trophy on his back. So when the Paladin asked him, "I meant to ask you, what is that?" He says, "Oh, that's just my pet lizard." Slap! Good lizard! Slap! And dragging the hands up the forehead as the poor lich back there is just going, when you're level 20 in OSR D&D like this Chaotic Good Barbarian is, when you've achieved enlightenment, especially chaotic good, the ends justify the means. You can be as horrific and nightmarish as you want, and as long as the end result is good, well, that's good. But that level 20, once you hit like level 14 back in the old school rules, you could kill gods. And at level 20, part of this guy's bingo card of things that he wants to do was pull every card out of a deck of many things. And he did. And a deck of many things is an incredible magical object, because you can pull a card that might give you the power of the gods, or you might pull a card that is literally death, and you die. And this fellow was able to draw every card. Got every bad thing. Got every good thing. And is still walking around. Yeah, this is the fellow that somebody in comments had said, like, they finished the main quest. Now all there is left is to go through and do all the optional side content. And that's what the Barbarian is doing. But does have a luxurious mane of ginger hair. Dungeon Soup, Chaotic Good Barbarian. I'm talking all slow because I've gotten old, but it's good stuff to watch. Definitely a good thing. And when I say I've gotten old, I don't mean just all of a sudden, in case you haven't noticed. I ain't exactly young anymore. Anyway, though, hey, 20 minutes into this, it's, buh. Is it really buh? No, it is. If you are a Patreon patron, you are a beautiful and awesome person. Thumbs up and thank you so very, very much. I just appreciate it. Without your help, I'd be hurting. I wouldn't be hurting terribly. I mean, it wouldn't be the end of the world, but I live in the United States. I am an American citizen, and it helps. I do appreciate that very much. It's one of the reasons I'm still eating now and that I have food. I have money to buy food. Hopefully it's going to last till the end of the month. I'm not begging or asking for anything. I'm just talking about thanking you very much. It is appreciated. For everybody that leaves me a comment, you too are beautiful and awesome in your own way. I read every comment that YouTube shows me. I thumbs up and heart every comment that I'm allowed to, and I answer as many as my nerve compression will let me, which isn't as many as I would like, but at least it's some, which is a good thing. Definitely a thumbs up on that. And of course, if you watched until this far, now that we're at the very, very end, if you could type "post it" into the comments to let me and the YouTube algorithm know that people actually do watch these videos, that would be very, very cool. Greatly appreciated. Thumbs up and thank you. Well, son of a gun, I'm going to edit, render, upload. I'm going to take care of myself. I'm going to go for walkies while the sun is up. I've been having to do it because of stupid reasons after the sun has gone down, and I want to get out there when the sun is up. So hopefully I'm going to be able to do that today. That was very aggressive. Hopefully I'm going to be able to do that today. Definitely a good thing. Oh, really quick, I am sad. I walk through a field, and I walk not through, it's one of the roads goes through a different field that's attached to the other field, but it's separate from. But I walk on some dirt/gravel roads, and I walk through a field, and then I walk adjacent to some fields. And they've been taking out little mowers and cutting down all of the tall grass. It's like knee height. It's been a lot of it. That, you know, back when it was a fire hazard during the dry, hot summer, getting rid of all that might have been a good idea. Now that it's cold and wet and sloggy, okay, now it's coming down, so yay. So, until we meet again, I can't remember, did I say that? No, or am I doing it right now? I have no ideas what I'm talking about anymore. I have lost control of all of my autonomic nervous, well, not my autonomic nervous functions. Those are taken care of. It's the voluntary nervous functions. I've lost control. So, until we meet again, you take care. Have a great day today. I will see you on the flip side, and that is indeed a very good thing. I just have the feeling I've said things and out of order and forgotten to say a bunch of stuff, and it doesn't matter though. I mean, we're all gonna die. We're all just made out of meat. I'm sorry. I meant the world is happy and friendly, and there are puppies and bunnies and hamsters, and, you know, the sun shines and the world is good.